IGN is going to be the only place that doesn't have his workers looking like this. Like, you work at Game Informer, this is you. You work at, Kotaku is probably going to be you. You work at, like, a lot of these places is probably going to be you. This is going to be you. That's your house.
GameStop. This is a company that's been on a downward spiral ever since they realized they can't just rely on physical sales due to the fact that physical sales are just declining. It's a digital age, and GameStop, having failed to adapt and with piss-poor leadership and management, they've only been relying on meme stocks to stay afloat. And along the way, there have been some casualties, including none other than Game Informer, which GameStop bought out all the way back in 2000. And the name Game Informer is just synonymous with
It's crazy that you bought out Game Informer when the internet was out. Like, that's insane. Like, I could understand buying it out in 1995 or even 1998, but in the year 2000? Jeez, what a dumbass mistake. Damn.
They've been around since frickin' 1991. They're the oldest video game magazine, and any gamer will have some kind of fond memory with buying some kind of magazine, buying an issue that covered a game that they were hyped for with exclusive coverage that was just next level, especially back in the day. Obviously, there's a lot more coverage that is much more widespread in this day and age, in this digital age, but I mean, not too long ago, Game Informer was the magazine you'd go to get the most extensive coverage for games, and even
Game Informer was one of the only ones that covered everything, because like you had Xbox magazines, you had like PlayStation magazines, you had a bunch of other shit magazines, but like you never had like just one magazine where like everything was being covered. Oh shit, Shy Lily, yo, thanks for the raid. Hi guys, what y'all doing? We're talking about magazines and the fact that they're dead.
In modern times, they would do exclusive coverage and cover stories and have all kinds of exclusive content with deep dives into upcoming games that would provide just an incredible amount of information and insight into the development process and what we can expect from a game. And so it's incredibly sad to see them go out like this. I'm
gonna be honest, like I'm not emotional about this one, but I was about Nintendo Power. I remember when Nintendo Power, like, they said it was done, I was stressed, man. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, really? You're going to stop doing this? What's going on?
GameStop just utterly butchering Game Informer with hardly any notice and completely taking down one of the sort of most iconic aspects of gaming and gaming coverage and gaming journalism.
I feel like if you work in one of these companies, like, so if you work at a job that you get paid a lot of money and you hardly have to do anything, you probably should be worried. Because eventually some guy is going to figure that out. And they're going to get rid of you. That's what's going to happen. It's the same if you work inside of an area inside of a company and you're doing some kind of job, some bullshit, right? And you don't think you're making any money for the company, you should be looking for another job. You should be worried.
And we have seen this first in the form of a tweet here from the official Game Informer Twitter page. The tweet here reads, "The final level, farewell from Game Informer." And we got a statement right here. You can find the same statement if you go to GameInformer.com right now. It reads right here, "After 33 thrilling years of bringing you the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. From the early days of pixelated adventures to today's immersive virtual realms, we have been honored to share this incredible journey with you, our loyal readers. While our presses may stop, the passion for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on."
It's like the magazines have been irrelevant for 10 years, like if not longer than that. It's just an outdated medium that people aren't interested in anymore. Like, that's just the way it is. It's amazing that print media has lasted this long. Yeah. Because it's like, why would you want to buy magazines take up space, they cost money. There's a lot of reasons, right? Whereas you could just go and get, the information from a YouTube video or from a website, and it's easier, way easier.
Thank you for being part of our epic quest, and may your own gaming adventures never end. Now, something that has been noted by now former Game Informer staff is that that statement was not written by anyone within Game Informer. Right here we have a coverage from Kotaku, and there's a portion where they spoke to sources. Game Informer Twitter account posted the following statement online today, but sources tell Kotaku it was not written by anyone on the team, which was still in the process of making sure everyone on staff was informed about
by
the
the way,
news.
you're fired.
The way this all played out was extremely sudden.
Yep.
Just a lot of folks did not see this coming. One day, GameStop called in.
I'm sorry to say, but like if you worked at Game Informer and you were like, wait, what? We're getting shut down? Like you were living in a fantasy world, okay? How you not see this coming? Come on. And by the way, the reason why the companies do this is that there are people, it's like for insider trading, to prevent insider trading. And so that's why the companies don't tell people ahead of time. The Blizzard does the same thing, and Microsoft does it. A lot of people do this. It's because
members of Game
trading.
Informer to let them know they're out of a job and that just the entire Game Informer brand would be taken down.
Mm-hmm.
Staff were all called into a meeting on Friday with parent company GameStop's VP of HR. In it, they were told the publication was closing immediately. They were all laid off and would begin receiving severance terms. At least one staffer was in the middle of a work trip.
Just cut him out.
The team was told.
Got rid of him.
And this means that the last issue
Deleted.
of Game Informer will cover Dragon Age the Veilguard as its cover story, and that'll be it. That's the end of Game Informer.
And that's why it's over. Is because nobody gives a fuck about that game, and the way that they're going to cover it is probably not going to be representative of what the gaming audience actually thinks about the game. And so that's what happens. You make content that doesn't resonate with an audience, and you die. That's just the way it goes. Like that. I'm sorry, but like games journalism and that shit, like it's bad. Bad take on Dragon Age. It's an objective fact that a lot of people don't like the way the game is, and I bet Game Informer is going to be parroting the same opinions that every single other games publication is parroting. They're saying the exact same thing. Like there might as well just be one game news publication, and that's it. It might as well be a monopoly.
It's also worth noting that on the consumer side of things, those who subscribe to receive physical magazines, GameStop has not issued any statement whatsoever on any plans to issue refunds or whether such refunds will be provided, which is disconcerting. But perhaps the most egregious thing about all of this is the fact that the Game Informer website as a whole has been completely taken down. Again, if you go to the Game Informer website right now, you'll find the statement, but there's no way to actually access the website proper, which has tons of articles, videos, coverage of games, and exclusive coverage and cover stories and content that is now completely gone from the face of the internet. They didn't just shut down Game Informer, they literally nuked it. They literally deleted it, which means that we won't be able to preserve all of the coverage that they did. This is something that
that is sad. It's disappointing that they did that. I mean, I guess you have the Wayback Machine, etc. But yeah, it's disappointing that happened.
Video lead at Game Informer, Alex Van Aken, complained about saying we can't access the website to back up our years of work. It's just a landing page now.
Bro, that actually sucks. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like that really does suck. There's really no other way to look at it other than that sucks.
He did say that he backed up in porn files, but we published thousands of materials yearly. There were 12 of us at the end, producing at print magazine, online stories, podcast videos, not to mention rigorous travel schedule, mostly shared between 5 or 6 editors. There's no time. This is genuinely important stuff we're losing in gaming history. This is just egregious what GameStop is doing here. Like, it's one thing to say it's the end of Game Informer, but to take down the website completely instead of at least keep that up and maintain that aspect of things.
It's crazy that they just took it down that day, right? They didn't even give people a week or anything like that. They just took it down instantaneously. That's brutal, man. Holy shit.
Is asinine. It's classic GameStop. We're talking about a business, again, that is just flailing, has no idea what it's doing, has not been able to adapt to the digital age, and a business that is so incompetent that former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé, when he once upon a time joined GameStop's board to help them turn things around, decided that he had enough and just left the board because leadership refused to explain how they would turn the company around, and they were just not taking in anything.
Like, anytime I went to a GameStop, not recently, but a bit ago, I went to a GameStop, You know what was at the GameStop? A bunch of fucking Funko Pops. They just got a bunch of Funko Pops sitting around with T-shirts about Dark Souls. Like, they're not even selling games anymore. Like, what the fuck is this? And shirts, yeah. It's like, what the hell happened, man? What the fuck? It's a Funko Pop. Yeah, what the hell is this?
Reggie was telling them in
Stupid
terms of recommendations
collectibles for old
how
children?
to turn the
Yeah.
business around. Right here we have another former
31-year-old
Game
children.
Informer staff venting his frustration by saying, I'm furious about the end of Game Informer. It
Yeah.
was an incredible 33-year run, and then GameStop pumps out this phony, empty farewell message. I bet money it was written by AI. Fuck you, GameStop, and a huge fuck you to Ryan Cohen, who's the CEO of GameStop, who's just been driving the...
I mean, I like, about them shutting it down out of nowhere, like, that's kind of sad, but, like, you got to expect that that's going to happen, right? I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, like, that's, like, of course, right?
company into the ground and took Game Informer with it. Why couldn't they have sold Game Informer to someone? I mean, just to see Game Informer go down like this really, I think, is quite tragic. And this ironically comes in a few days after GameStop tweeted the following: bet y'all wish you bought physical copies now. In
Damn, ain't that crazy? Wow.
reference to the Xbox 360 store shutting down.
Yeah.
And GameStop tweeted support for physical media.
Buy physical
in large
media,
part
yeah.
because that's kind of a big part of their business. But not to say that I disagree with the fact that we should support physical media. But GameStop tweeting this shortly before.
I agree that physical media should be more emphasized, and I think it becomes more important than ever now that all of the video games that you have, you're accessing through some sort of store or some apparatus that if it goes down, your game effectively is deleted. I think that's the same for Steam, etc. It would be really great if, like, we could go to a place like GameStop and be able to just buy any game that we wanted. It's just that that's not really accessible. And the only people that are really able to make games and distribute them to, like, a mass market, like to GameStops, they're these really big companies. Yeah, Steam has offline mode. Yeah, well, I'm like, Steam is just like one example, right? Like the Xbox 360 is like that. And only buy physical, more for the ones that don't. Yeah, I mean, I never buy physical. Like, the last physical game I bought was probably like Breath of the Wild or something like that. That was it. PC gamers aren't buying discs. Yeah, exactly. It's because oftentimes the content isn't even in the disc.
Shutting down and utterly nuking one of the very few remaining physical magazines that covers video games. And in terms of
nobody orders it. That's why nobody buys it. Like, it's just not financially viable. Like, it makes sense they shut it down. Like, I'm surprised it still existed now.
just the
Like, that's just the way it is.
depth and extent of coverage that Game Informer does.
Yeah.
It might be the only gaming magazine, physical gaming magazine, that did it at that level.
Yep.
And now that just no longer exists. If you had any respect for physical media or just preserving at least aspects of the digital coverage that Game Informer has done, you would have kept the website up at the very least, or you would have sold Game Informer.
Well, it's like that you didn't even keep the website up for the employees so they could save copies of their work or make mirrors of it so they could use it to find another job. I feel like that's so scummy, and, like, you didn't need to do that. Like, you did not need to. There's no reason that had to happen.
Somebody else to
That's
continue the
bad.
legacy, find some way to keep it alive, but you utterly
Bro, actually,
completely
whoa,
else
hold
to
up.
continue the legacy.
Would be a W if you guys start selling more games in your stores instead of having those Funko Pops every store I get. See, I saw that just for a second, bro. I can read fast. Yep, absolutely. I like that comment.
Find some way to keep it alive, but
True.
you utterly, completely just decimated what is like almost like a cultural institution in gaming history at this point. Now, there are some efforts that are being taken to preserve Game Informer. So right here we have MinMax, which for those who don't know is an individual outlet that was started some time back by former Game Informer employees who were caught in layoffs. And they're essentially taking efforts through their Discord to organize a way to preserve some history and to
This is like people that are trying to propagate AM radio, or people that are trying to, like, run a VHS rental store. It's like, this is just simply not viable or relevant anymore. Like, you can have, like, we have Vulcan Video here, which is a video rental store. Like, and there's like video rental stores out there, But like this is just never going to be viable anymore. It's just like the culture in the world has changed. And it's already changed. It's been changed for years now.
Archive Game Informer as much of it as they can. So it'll be interesting to see how much of Game Informer they do manage to preserve. But the fact that such efforts have to be taken instead of GameStop at the very least allowing some semblance of a grace period for the website to remain up, for this stuff to be archived, and for all the coverage that they did and all of the information that they've put out there to be preserved is just, I mean, it is the insult to injury. It is the sprinkle of pepper on top of your gaping wound. I really hope everyone manages to land on their feet, and I guess I'll leave off with my experience with Game Informer. I remember the first Game Informer magazine I bought was the one covering Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. It's how I discovered Elder Scrolls, literally through Game Informer and their coverage of this game. I remember buying that magazine, reading through the cover story, and being so incredibly hyped by everything they were saying about what this game was going to be. And then I bought the game, and I played it, and it became one of my favorite games of all time. And from then on, I remember being a teenager, and the thing that I would look forward to...
I bought the game, I played it, I soft-locked myself, and I couldn't figure out or advance the story at all, because apparently I think I killed the king or something like that. I don't know, it was some sort of thing I messed up. And I would just go around killing people and taking all their stuff, and then I had so much stuff in my house, then I couldn't put any more stuff in my house, so I quit the game.
Most when I'd go like grocery shopping with my mom was going to the magazine racks
the
and
way it
seeing
is.
if
I
there
beat the
was
game.
a new issue of Game Informer, and every time there was, I'd pick one of those up and beg my mom to buy me the thing, and I'd just like read it from page to page, and especially those cover stories that provided like just unprecedented insight into the games that they were covering, especially at that time.
That was the place.
I remember buying quite a few issues, and every one of them being just like a momentous occasion, like I
had a Game Informer
monthly treat to look forward to
back in the day.
And so I really do have fond memories of Game Informer and buying those magazines, and Game Informer being the outlet that kept me so up to date on some of my most anticipated titles. So to close the video off, I hope everyone at Game Informer knows that they have had a tremendous amount of impact in gaming culture, gaming history, and I'm sorry that corporate bullshit has ruined what should have been a continuing, long-running venture. But know that you've had an impact.
I don't think it should have continued. I bet they were probably losing millions of dollars on it. They had to cut it off, but it was just it was fucked up for them to just shut down the website, so the people that worked there couldn't even save their work. Yeah, like, let's be honest, right? That's just the way it is.
In the hearts of many who grew up playing games, like I feel like everyone who grew up playing games will tell you some story about, buying a Game Informer magazine. And,
No, for me, it was, I remember we would go to Albertsons, and this was a grocery store. It's not even around anymore. Maybe it is in some places in the country, but like we used to have an Albertsons kind of, like we would drive over there, and then we would get food at Albertsons, and then there was a Burger King, and we would go there all the time. I'm not really sure, but I remember you would walk in, and the magazines would be like right there on the, I guess that's on the right, and I would sit there in front of the magazines, and I would read all of them whenever my mom would shop, or like she'd be in line, and like I would have her buy those for me too. And then they even had like, remember those things where they had the little, you would get like it's like the red thing on like the corner of the aisle, and you could like take it at the what was it called? The coupon from it. Remember that? Yeah, the coupon dispenser. Yeah, this was like the year 2000, right? The year 1999. It was a real long time ago. Because I remember seeing like Game Informer about like Halo and shit, right? Man, that it is like, I mean, really for me it was Nintendo Power was like my real nostalgia magazine, but Game Informer was there too.
Game developers will tell you how special it was to see their game feature in the magazine and whatnot. So
I didn't steal anything.
At the very least, I hope you can, if you are someone who worked for Game Informer, you can keep your head held up high, knowing that your work really, really mattered. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this sudden nuking of Game Informer, and, you know, share your stories about your experiences with Game Informer and their magazines. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.
Well, I think it's sad. I mean, I don't think it should be a shock. I'll tell you that. It definitely shouldn't be a shock to anybody. And I think it's so fucked up that they just shut down the website. He's right. It's so fucked up. But the reason why they stopped supporting Game Informer is real simple. It's because it wasn't making any fucking money. Like, anybody could have easily seen that doing a magazine for video games in this day and age, it's just not, it's not a thing anymore, guys. It's just not. Not surprising. Extra shit to do. Yeah. And so nuking the site is a total dick move. It's such a dick move. IGN is next. IGN has so much of an online presence that it won't happen. IGN isn't going to shut down. Like, I could see Kotaku shutting down, and I could see Polygon shutting down. I can't see IGN shutting down. Actually, you know what? I want to talk about that more. I need to use the bathroom first, though. Yeah, give me a minute. So the ones that are going to fall off is IGN will be the only one that doesn't fall off, I think. All of the other ones are going to fall off. The reason why is because IGN has the best reputation, number one. Number two, and I know you might think that IGN's reputation is bad. What I'm saying is it's the best, it's the least bad. Like, Kotaku and Polygon's reputation is way worse. The best, least bad, yeah, exactly. And so what's going to end up happening is that IGN, and I think it's not just IGN, I think it's a lot of these other places too, they're going to be shifting over to doing things online. I'll link you guys a video again. But, like, you're not going to see any more magazines coming out. Like, that's going to be done. Now, you could see maybe in, like, 10 years, 15 years, somebody doing a magazine again, as if, like, it's, like, kind of a retro thing, and you could see it get popular. In the same way that, like, vinyls are popular, I could maybe see that happen, but I wouldn't bet on it, right? I definitely wouldn't bet on it. So, yeah, IGN also on red carpets and shit, too. They're bigger than people think. Yeah, IGN's not going to die. I could easily see Kotaku dying. I could easily see, like, Polygon dying. I could see... What are some of the other ones? Rock, Paper, Shotgun, I could see them dying. PC Gamer, I could see PC Gamer dying. Absolutely. Yeah, Prage, please die Kotaku. Yeah, GameSpot, remember GameSpot? GameSpot, yeah, a little bit, right? Like, not really. Eurogamer, maybe, maybe not. I don't really know. I don't really go there. Dexterdo? No, Dexterdo already shifted to, like, talking about, like, celebrity drama and shit, right? And, like, IGN does the same thing. And, like, that's never gonna go out of business. Like, a new tweet, like, every time a streamer says something stupid, like, they're gonna post that. Like, that's gonna get plenty of attention. Much more than, like, a game thing will. Games Radar will never die. IGN acquired Eurogamer? Yeah, that's smart. IGN does games, movie, drama, all of it? Yeah, that's smart, right? And I think IGN is gonna be the only place that actually... IGN is gonna be the only place that doesn't have his workers looking like this. Like, you work at Game Informer, this is you. You work at, you know, Kotaku is probably gonna be you. You work at, like, a lot of these places is probably gonna be you. This is gonna be you, that's your house. In 10 years. Eurogamer lost me whenever they refuse to review Hogwarts. Yeah, to me, whenever I see somebody do some kind of, like, a political, what's the word for it? Like, tantrum, right? Like, where it's like, oh, we're not going to review Hogwarts Legacy or something like that. I'm just like, okay, this is a joke, right? I'm not going to take these guys seriously. Because it's just you, after that, to me, it's like, I can never take what somebody says authentically anymore. Or I have to look at it through the lens of, like, that bias and assume that everything that I see and hear from them is not authentic. That's the way I see it. Showboating, grandstanding, yeah, exactly. Like, any sort of grandstanding or, like, anything like that, I immediately say, you know what, I'm not about it, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to deal with it. So yeah, with a pinch of salt, exactly. That's true. IGN doesn't just cover games. Yeah, it still has to get approved. It's not just one person. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in general, it's something that I think is it's a big issue, right? Faking dislikes. Yeah, I don't know about that. Mr. Beast killed puppies. Yeah. He also eats them and people, of course. I mean, everybody knows that. Wouldn't that be the same thing with you covering about issues that people about you know? Yeah, exactly. And like that's why people, because and don't get it twisted, right? If I cover an issue with somebody and people think that I provide biased coverage to that issue, they are going to be less likely to take my opinion seriously in the future, because that's what any normal, reasonable person would do. If you have somebody and this person gives biased coverage, you're going to assume that next time they're also going to give biased coverage. Like, it's common sense, right? So that's what happens the most, is that like, people, usually reputations aren't damaged instantaneously. They're damaged over a period of time of collectively through a pattern of bad behaviors. So for example, like any streamer that's like lost a lot of popularity, it was almost never the case where it was like one time they did something bad and now everybody hates them, right? Like, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah, bro, like, it's a scarlet rot. Exactly.